Okay, dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I actually wanted to make this video a bit later, but I realized they just announced that L Pets are getting a remake, so I couldn't wait anymore, and here's the video. And also because of this issue that they had, whereby they actually increased the rates of the Voucher Plus, okay, for the legendary pets, and many people actually got legendary pets from there, fused L Pets, and I can safely say that the amount of players with L Pets now in the game has increased, and hence they are going to push forth with the L Pet Remakes. So currently this is the tier list of the current pets that we have in global server. Thanks to my guildmate for also checking through. So Chris is absolutely cancerous, okay? Because of his debuff duration increase, and he really makes debuff teams and debuff stay so much longer, and it's really difficult to even, do anything against a burst debuff team. Ming and Jave has that power to negate ultimate skill gauge decreases, okay, so that's really strong, especially for Mace. And then Ming has the power to decrease ultimate skill gauge through the shields, through invincibility. So that is also what makes her so OP right now. Whether this is a bug or not, we are not too sure, but yeah, it is working as it is, okay? The other pets are not as favored in PvP right now, but this will soon change with the update that is about to come, so we're going to talk about the changes that you might expect. I'm going to showcase the pets according to when they were remade in Korea in chronological order, so it doesn't mean that the pets I'm going to mention first are the best, and it doesn't mean that the pets I'm going to mention first will also be introduced, will also be remade in global server first, okay? They may change the order of it. So for the Ace pet, I'm going to ignore the active 1 because it's almost all the same across the pets. The active 2 increases ultimate skill gauge by 30%, increases all allies attack by 15% for 30 seconds, unremovable. He also increases attack speed, and he removes debuffs on your heroes when disabled, and then also increases ignore defense efficiency of the target with the highest attack for 15 seconds. And this can be used every 60 seconds. He's gonna change into one of the best pets in the game. Okay, so his active 2, he will introduce a new effect whereby he will cause your all allies to increase ultimate skill gauge over time by 15% for every skill used within 30 seconds. He will also increase allies attack by 20% for 30 seconds. So this is going to be a really good active 2, and it's very important to time this very well so that you are able to get your ultimate skill gauges increasing within this 30 seconds without any problem, because it is an unremovable buff as well. Not only that, his passive also changes. He increases accuracy rate of offensive and universal allies by 15%, clearly boosting the capabilities of Mythic Ace and Ace himself as well. So those who run Mythic Ace and Ace, if you have an Ace pet, this is gonna be an absolutely big change for your team. Okay, and not only that, when disabled, he will also have the same effect to remove debuffs, but this time grants debuff immunity for 6 seconds, so that when debuffs are removed, it ensures that those heroes that got the debuff removed will not be debuffed immediately again, so they can continue with whatever attacks that they have, and this makes them more efficient. So it's a great revamp, making him one of the best pets to have been revamped in Korea server even till this date. The next pet that we have is Richel. So she was remade on the same update as Ace. As we all know, she is, I don't know why I'm calling her she, but yeah. As we all know, she is mostly used in PvE, but recently I've also seen her being used in PvP with Ace himself, and there's a creation of this immortal Ace effect because Ace reduces his cooldown so quickly that he always gets the immortal even before it runs out. So her skill cooldown is actually very useful. She also increases damage dealt, and when the hero is disabled, she will remove the debuffs, but there is no debuff immunity, so this is something that has been lacking, okay, especially in the current meta. This is definitely not as good. So the change for Richel intended is to make her usable in various comps without too much difficulty, and also because she is a pet, whose strength is in cooldown reduction factors, so that's what they are trying to keep. Okay, she is also going to have this new effect whereby she will decrease skill cooldown by 1 second every 2 attacks for 20 seconds. This makes it more efficient in recycling skills. And in the passive, she also increases bulk by increasing defense of the team, and she not only removes debuffs when heroes are disabled, but she also further decreases their skill cooldown to allow them to use skills in return. Okay, so the defense increase is actually to make up for the lack of bulk that when Richel pets are used, and of course they want more skills to be used. So when a hero is hit with a debuff, Richel will activate, Richel's passive will activate and then cleanse the debuff and allow the hero to quickly use a skill in return. Okay, so that's the idea of the Richel pet. And in Korea server, well, this is just a so-so change. Okay, she's still not being used as much, even though after the change, even after the change happened, I think Ace just took the limelight with his remake instead. Next up, we have the Rudy Plus pet. So for the Rudy Plus pet, currently he increases ultimate skill gauge by 30% and increases attack by 15% for 30 seconds. And then he also decreases debuff duration, increases attack speed and damage dealt, and increases ignore defense efficiency. So he's kind of like a mixed pet. He was designed to be a hybrid pet, and this made it difficult to be used. Okay, so what Netmarble did was really to retain his hybridness and also allow him to increase his defensive capabilities. Firstly, by decreasing debuff duration further, okay, by 45%, also increasing crit damage resistance by 45%, and increasing the attack speed that this pet does so that he can be used more competitively. Furthermore, he applies immortality for 8 seconds when an ally drops to 10% or below. So this is a free rage accessory for your entire team if you have the Rudy pet. Not only that, he actually gives a 60,000 HP shield for 120 seconds, and this is unremovable. So it's free health, and he also increases defense of your team by 25% for 15 seconds. Also unremovable. And he can be used in both tanks and burst teams. Okay, of course this pet was remade before Mythical Ace came out in Korea server. Okay, so to what extent he can be used in global could vary. I'm not saying that he's going to be absolutely amazing here, because things could change because of the order that Global has decided to do. But overall, the change is great. Like one of the best changes for the L Plus pets. Then we have the Evan pet, which is one of the more unfortunate pets because he actually went through 2 revisions in Korea server and it's still not amazing. Yeah, so what they wanted to do for Evan pet was to make him different from the Rudy pet. The Rudy pet was more defensive. They got boosted in defense capabilities. But for the Evan pet, they wanted to boost his offense capabilities, even though he is still a hybrid pet, you know. So as you can see clearly from here, the active 2, instead he also gains the same effect as Richel, whereby he will decrease ally skill cooldown by 1 second every 2 attacks for 25 seconds. It's the same as Richel. Active 2 is actually a time acceleration effect. But for his passive, he also decreases debuff duration by 45%, which is the same as Rudy pet, remember? He also decreases damage received, okay? He now increases crit damage by 45%, giving him offensive capabilities. And the thing about the Evan pet was the buff removal. Free buff removal on every single hero. But you come to a point right now in the meta where so many buffs are unremovable, and not only that, now you have Clemith enhancing buffs to become unremovable. So I think this is a problem still for Evan pet, even though they are going to boost him to 50% chance to remove the target's buffs. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a problem still for Evan pet. So those with Evan pet, I'm really sorry. I'm saying sorry to myself too. Yeah, so I don't think he's gonna be as amazing as the other pets that will receive the remake. Then we have the Cosette pet, which is currently not very good. For the Cosette pet, she's actually one of those that can not only provide immunity to damage but also removing debuffs from allies. And the thing about her is that her active 2 is actually kind of empty. She just provides immunity debuffs. And for her passive, it's strictly for ranged heroes only. Okay, so definitely in terms of utility, even though we have a lot of burst teams right now, she is more limited for sure. Okay, but hopefully she is getting the remake. So for her active 2, she's actually not only going to provide debuff immunity, she's also going to increase ally skill damage. Okay, and for her passive, I think this is one of the biggest changes here. Increasing AoE damage by 40% is definitely going to help all PvP heroes, so not restricted to just range heroes. Okay, increasing damage output by a huge amount, especially if you are using Rin, Yuri, even Mace is going to benefit from this. And then more importantly, when an ally's HP drops to 10% or below, she applies immortality for 6 seconds. And this is basically the same as Rudy pet, I believe, right? But the thing is, not only that, if the immortal target is a range or universal hero, she will increase the ultimate skill gauge of that hero by 100%, and this is applied separately and is unremovable. Unremovable immortality. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely going to be a pet that you will want to use more now because of the buff that she gives to not only ranged heroes but universal heroes, and also providing immortality regardless of the hero type. So it's definitely a better pet to use, especially right now in burst comps, and I think she has a very high chance of getting the remake because of what our meta is precisely going into. The next 2 pets are the more recent pets that were remade in Korea, so I do not think they are going to get the remake. Okay, the first is the Rin pet, who literally only got her remake, or rather her buff, in September earlier this year. So I don't think she's going to be one of those to get a remake, and she's still doing really well in our server right now. Okay, so she increases ultimate skill gauge by 50%, increases all allies status effect accuracy by 30% for 50 seconds. She also increases debuff duration by 30%, decreases skill cooldown by 15%, increases defense of your allies, and when a hero's HP is 30% or below, she applies stealth for 8 seconds for that hero. The changes will include some shifting in her skills. Basically, the increased ally status effect accuracy rate is going to be a passive right now, okay, instead of an active effect. So it's going to be definitely better in the sense that you are guaranteed to have longer debuffs and also more guaranteed debuffs. Okay, and also for her passive, when an ally dies, she will reset allies skill cooldown and increase all remaining allies' ultimate skill gauge by 50%. So this is going to help to reverse the tide of a lot of longer battles, because when an ally dies, you literally get a full reset and also get a buff in ultimate skill gauge. That is huge, and I think this is mainly for debuff comps that have some bulk thanks to her defense increase, so it makes sense. Okay, such that when one ally dies, when you reset debuff heroes cooldown, they can apply it again and control the enemy almost quite efficiently, right? And also increase ultimate skill gauge is just really good. And not only that, for her active 2, she gets attack speed increase, okay, and she also has a healing over time effect. So this will definitely help, and you have to also catch when this is the best time to be used, because active 2s can be programmed, right, to be used at certain points in the battle. So this is something that, if you use it at the right time, could generate a really good result. The Ming pet also received a remake, and this is probably not going to happen for us, but I'm just going to put it in the video anyway because it only happened less than a month ago. So for the Ming pet, the idea for her change is actually to increase her efficiency. As we know, the Ming pet is famous for decreasing ultimate skill gauge of the enemies, right? Also increasing attack speed, damage dealt, and increasing defense. and she also provides immunity to ultimate skill gauge decreases for allies. The changes will also kind of go in the line of increasing the efficiency of her, whereby 10% increase in ultimate skill gauge on active 2 was just way too little, especially at this point when you have pets like Rin Pet that increase 50%. So they're gonna buff that to 30%. Not only that, for her passive, she basically gets a lethargy effect. So the idea for this is people realized that the Ming pet was becoming worse than the lethargy accessory. And those Ming pet users, they were also not too sure about using lethargy accessories. Okay, so hence, instead of just basic attack activation of decreasing skill cooldown, it has become all attacks, including the basic attack. And the updated range for her passive is the same as using one piece of lethargy accessory. And it also has a higher ultimate skill gauge reduction amount than the one piece. Okay, so it can also be stacked with lethargy accessories to achieve a much better efficiency of reducing enemy ultimate skill gauge. So that is to really help Ming pet users become more efficient in mid to longer battles. Also, the increase in attack and defense by 5% whenever ultimate skill gauge is used is also in line of that idea to make the teams that engage in longer battles more powerful, because in longer battles you are likely to use more ultimate skill gauges, and this attack and defense increase is going to be permanent. There's no time limit for it. Okay, it will also be unremovable. So definitely a stronger Ming pet in a not too soon future. Ru pet is also slated for a remake after a really long time, but because this video is out at this point in time, I'm unable to wait for the Ru pet remake details. So just keep a lookout if you are following the KR news. Okay, Ru pet is slated to get a remake. I'm pretty sure this will happen when Mythic Rudy is released in Korea server. Now, all that said, okay, now that you have an idea of what's gonna happen to the L Plus pets that we all have now, I want to show you guys the Mythic pets because they did the same thing before. Remember when they revamped so many L Plus heroes in our server at once? Shortly after, maybe 2 months time, you get Mythic Ace. I think that could potentially happen. Okay, maybe in 2 to 3 months time, Myth pets will come to the global server. So here is what Geo does. Geo and Kail are the two Myth pets that were released, and the only two Myth pets right now. Geo, take note that he will recover HP by 75%, up from 70% of L Plus pets, and also 15,000 HP, up from 13,000 from L Plus pets. He will provide damage immunity for 5 seconds. This is down from L Plus pets that provide 6 seconds immunity. However, he has a very long active too, so let me go through this with you. First, he will reduce all ally skill cooldown by 80%. Then he will grant a shield to the ally with the highest attack and silence all enemies around that particular hero for 8 seconds. Then he will also create a circular range of 4 meters for 8 seconds around that ally, and it will reduce the movement speed of enemies by 60% whenever they go near that ally. This is unremovable. The movement speed decrease, the debuff, is unremovable. The area that Geo casts can be removed by Clemif's Zone Collapse. Okay? So very strong. It's a definite silence and also a movement speed decrease. So basically, whatever hero that comes near to this particular ally is just gonna slow down and do basic attacks. Yeah, so you can actually kill them from that range. Then we have Geo's passive, which is stacked. Increases attack speed by 27.5%, reduces damage received by 16%, increases debuff duration by 25%, increases status effect accuracy rate by 16%. You realize that all these are the same thing as what Rin Pet does, as what Chris Pet does, and Chris Pet doesn't get a remake even until now. Maybe when Chris Plus gets a remake, Chris Pet could get a remake. But you realize that Geo is the better version of those two. Okay, not only that, when a hero uses a skill, it will increase the ultimate skill gauge by 10%. There's a 3-second cooldown to this effect. So if they use a skill, after 3 seconds they use another skill, they will gain the ultimate skill gauge increase. If they use a skill and only 1 second later they use the skill again, another skill again, they will not get the increase. Okay, so this is something like a Shea effect. Next, when an ally HP falls to 10% or below, he becomes immortal, increases ultimate skill gauge by 70% and recovers 100% of HP applied separately. So this is basically like a second chance, right, at prolonging the battle. This is basically like a revive in that sense, but a very strong revive. You basically get a second health bar, yeah, with your ultimate skill gauge. So Geo is incredibly strong, the best pet right now in Korea server in PvP. The next is for Kail. Same thing, his active one is the same. Okay, for active 2, he increases all allies attack speed by 55% for 30 seconds. Allies deal shield ignoring damage equal to 500% of their attack, including 4000 fixed damage on top of that, for every attack for 30 seconds. Then he also increases allies crit rate by 100% for 30 seconds. Looking at this crit rate increase, you will be reminded, or you should be reminded, of Irin. And yup, he is the better version of Irin because he also increases crit damage by 63% on his passive. Not only that, he increases ignore defense efficiency by 23% as well, and he has the same revival effect as Irin, whereby he will recover fallen allies by 70%. This is I think 10% more than Irin. Creates a shield equal to 40% of HP. This is 20% more than Irin. He will also revive, providing status effect immunity, and also give the target 100% ultimate skill gauge. That is something new. Irin doesn't have that. Okay, and also similar to Richel, he will also remove debuffs when heroes are disabled and they become unstoppable, which means I think they gain debuff immunity for 10 seconds, or damage immunity actually. Yeah, they gain damage immunity for 10 seconds. Yeah, so this is the better version of Irin and perhaps even Richel. Okay, basically just a lot of damage, and he is actually one of the better PvE pets. Definitely, as you can see from all the crit rate, crit damage, ignore defense efficiency, it's really made for PvE. Of course, you can use him in PvP as well. I think some people do that, yeah, because of the revival. If wherever Irin can be used, I'm sure, you know, Kail can be used as well. So yeah, this could be a problem moving forward, as you can see. Okay, so the problem with myth pets being introduced is that they probably will no longer be making L plus pets. I mean, they would, but the L plus pets that, you know, are not remade, they may not remake them anymore, because they're creating better versions through the mythic pets. Irin didn't get a remake at all, but they have Kail now. Chris didn't get a remake at all, but they have Geo now. So yeah, that is the thing that is potentially going to happen moving forward. We'll see how it goes. Pets are definitely one of the more game-changing features of Seven Knights 2, and let me know what you guys think after going through this video. And of course, big shout out to my channel members Chilling, Jude, Gonzalo, Nick, McGee, Yamaki, Kevin, Harlan, and JDM for the support. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much, and see you!